Good afternoon, everyone. Everywhere you look, food prices up, skyrocketing staples headlines. I dried green beans out of a can, scrappy results. Romania bans grain exports, first nation on the planet to do so, leaving 5 nations in distress for grain imports. China fertilizer shortage, no problem. Let's use human fecal matter. Food bank lines growing to unprecedented lengths. Banks needing bailouts like never seen before. And nobody's talking about these planetary alignments that are going to set off massive earthquakes and volcanic eruptions around 2024, unless those that know the cycles and have been hiding the information from the public. Well, that's a first. The FDIC posting a video on YouTube urging Americans to keep your money in the banks. And it looks like the banking system could be in for a 10 times larger shock than the housing meltdown in 2008. And it's quirky that if it was such a stable financial system, the FDIC wouldn't need to say a word. You probably know that old saying, if you owe the bank $1 million and can't pay, you have a problem. If you owe the bank $1 billion and can't pay, the bank has a problem. Mortgage defaults 30% as we move in through the month of May. With this much inflation on the way, only one investment stands out: gold. Patriot Gold Group has no fee for life IRAs where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold or silver. At Patriot, you work directly with an owner and avoid paying absurd broker fees. Call today or request a free investment kit. PatriotGoldGroup.com. The link's in the description box below. And turning on any dial or looking at any feed, all you're seeing now is the call to action. Biblical proportions, mass starvation, Africa. Locusts are over there. Meat shortages here in the U.S. Food supply fears. Meat processing plants to close. How's everything catching us off guard? Like these whole supply chain disruptions weren't thought about or anticipated months ago when they told you, no, everything's going to return to normal. It'll be all perfectly normal, just like it was before. You go back to your normal lives, except pork 4x up in price. And what about these staples? Eggs as well. They're culling so many tens of millions of chickens just in the United States. Huge increase in food demand. And now we have wholesale egg prices skyrocketing from the wholesalers and the chickens as well. For your own private raising on your farm, good luck. Some areas are complete shortages, and other areas that we see still down in Florida, for example, farmers can't get their produce out, so they're forced to scrap it, literally till it under the fields. And here we got all these tomatoes, such food wastage going on across the United States. It's actually criminal what's happening. And it's been like this for a month now, solid, and they're finally coming out saying, look out for food shortages. I can't believe they didn't warn us before. They should have gotten a full-on Manhattan Project for everybody to grow food in your gardens, in your homes, in your side yards, and everywhere else. Planter boxes, doesn't matter. Grow food. And it was an experiment for myself. I took a can of green beans that we had, and I dehydrated them because I wanted to know, would it be lighter for storage, packing something, and what could we do with it? I'm always that kind of mind, take one substance and turn it into something else. The results are scrappy at best. A whole can of green beans turned into just a few fingerlings of different quality green matter. We tried to rehydrate it again. I wouldn't eat that. Best eat it straight out of the can. At least I tried the experiment for you. Because over in the food banks here, that's exactly what they're giving away. Canned goods, dried staples. But the problem lies here. These lines are getting so long and the demand so ferocious now. And if we're getting 4x pricing in beef, pork, eggs, and all these other things, the average person is not going to be able to donate to these food banks. Look at this line of cars. That's truly unprecedented, unbelievable here in the United States. It's everywhere you look, every single region. Every single state in the United States is experiencing the same thing. It's incredible times we're living in, truly incredible. If this doesn't send a massive, huge flare into the sky for you, you need to get ready right now. Start growing your food. It's springtime. The moon's perfect now for growing vegetables. Please plant a garden. And now we have Romania banning grain exports. And it is the first country to cut off grain. And of course, the media is going to demonize that and say, Romania is taking the harshest stance on food supply yet. Well, maybe that's the smartest stance on food supply. They're growing it. They're keeping it in their country. I wonder what they know that the media is not telling you. Because further down in the headlines, if you do decide to dig, Romania is the second largest wheat exporter in the EU. And see, for me, what doesn't make sense is in this same paragraph here, it says, even though Romania cuts off all their exports, it'll be less than 1% of the EU exports in total affected. So wait a second, the second largest exporter, and they cut off entire shipments, but it's only going to affect everything only 1% out of the EU. This makes no sense for me. But notice the position where Romania is on the map there. It's going to be right at the edge of where the grow zones start to not produce on the Black Sea. I'm going to bring you over to the temperature construction for the modern minimum here. What we're looking at is mainly the northern hemisphere. Modern minimum 1680. Well, it does include a little bit, probably back to 1650 all the way to 1710 through that main period of what's considered the depths of the modern minimum cooling. Romania itself is right in the edge. If you look at this little bit better contoured map, colors are a little bit starker so you can see where it is. You'll notice the Black Sea there, right above the 0.2. If you pretty much draw a line up there between the 0.05 and 0.2, you'll find Romania. The two bodies of water are the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. Just to the west there of the Black Sea, you'll see right where those two colors are, the lighter blue and the darker blue, that's smack dab in the middle of Romania. So they obviously know that the weather's going to change there. The climate's going to shift where they're not going to be able to grow as much grain. So they're holding it in their country. We are at the cusp of this right now, Grand Solar Minimum food crop losses. So looking at Romania's markets, these 5 countries rely on Romania for the top wheat export inbound to those countries: Egypt, Jordan, South Korea, Sudan, and Thailand. My question is, where are they going to shift and try to find other exports? Sure isn't going to be Australia, because Australia lost so much production. They're importing wheat now. China has barely even planted this year. They were in a deficit last year anyway, very low yields. American wheat yield down year on year. So where are these other countries going to start finding their supplies? Because now Russia is going to start limiting grain exports. We got 2 countries right here. When is it going to be the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th? But the media is going to demonize everybody who tries to hold the food in their countries because you don't want to share. And as I reported on the fertilizer shortages in China, China can't even get fertilizer within its own country to its farmers, let alone export to the EU and the United States and other places that need the base constituents to mix our own percentages for NPK fertilizers and everything in between that goes into this farming mechanism. Magically, science improved wheat yields by 65% using human waste created fertilizer in Australia, of all places. So they're finding that increased wheat yields, anywhere 55 to 65%. I wonder if that's just about a remineralizing of the soil, because we're farming in such depleted soils that actually natural fertilizers, again, will boost the yield. Is that the magic ticket? Because they're talking about cost inputs here as well. Alfalfa pellets, chicken manure, these types of inputs, $200 to $1,500 per ton, whereas wastewater can be collected free from cities. You flush your toilet, it goes onto the crops. They used to call that night soil. We used it for thousands of years. And then we went away from that into petrochemical fertilizers. Awesome. It smelled too much. Oh, there's manure on the field. Now they want to bring it back. They want to go into the waste treatment plants and get all that. I guess if you're in a pinch, which we definitely are agriculturally, you're seeing things shift that you never thought would shift. But this Grand Solar Minimum was forecast for at least 30 years now, and it's finally here. It's intensifying. My whole channel's been based on following this very event happening. And I was saying about a year out, before the food shortages hit the planet enough to cause social unrest, they would lock it down so nobody could travel to Warmer, more prosperous food growing areas collapsed the economy, evaporated and reset, all with the same power elite in control. And where do we find ourselves along this timeline in history? The banks need the largest bailouts ever. Yet again, after 2008, which is the fourth little tiny line that you'll see from the right on the timeline, look how many times larger this bailout has to be than the 2008 and 9 financial crisis bailout. That should make you shake in your boots right there. That blue line to the right, how tall that is above the financial crisis in 2008 that rocked our planet. And you wonder why consumer spending is down. Everybody's terrified to spend money. Crashing sales. This is only for the beginning of what has happened. This is not in the depths of it now. Wait another month or two. This thing's going to go far, far negative. They're going to have to put a new couple bands in this chart here going south. And another indicator things are not right is the crash in U.S. auto sales. That would be expected. That's a big ticket item. That's the first thing you're going to stop spending on. But right now, it seems that the perception of normalcy, the narrative of all okay, is far more important than the dollar value, because when you're looking at cycles in the sun, cycles in history, money can be recreated out of nothing. It's the perception of stability to give the elite a chance to get to their bunkers ahead of you, reset the society when we come out of it, usher in a new digital currency, a new form of control on this planet, because 2024 is the thing very few people are talking about. This planetary alignment is going to have some massive electromagnetic effects on our planet, both summer and winter, to the point where will a global liquefaction event occur again? How many volcanic eruptions are going to start blocking out the sun, reducing crop output and yield even further? And how many earthquakes are going to happen and devastate insurance companies? This is all planned. These cycles are mapped out. We're being played by the power elite. Time to take our power back. So now it's up to you to come together with your family, your community, your neighbors, your neighborhoods, to start working together. This shift is happening on purpose. All of what you're seeing in front of you in the news feeds, it's all on purpose to lock the planet down. This is in motion. And each time we get closer and these planets start to line up in their perfect square further out, the Jovians, the next largest shift, if it's true and electromagnetic effects are going to be a result of this alignment here, should be coming up in June of this year. Look for massive upticks seismically, volcanically. I wish you the best in your preparations. We're all going to have to be more self-sufficient, but during this time you can use storable foods to get you through in the transition period here to self-sufficiency. My Patriot Supply and Adapt 2030, 2-week grab-and-go food crate, and the 4-week food supply. You're not going to be living on this forever. You're going to use this as the step into you growing your own food and raising your own animals. That's where we're going on this planet. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next video.